the thing that's so bizarre to me is that we're sitting here and we're talking about the age, like as if guns were just created, like, you know, when in
Something's
reality,
wrong.
right? But something's wrong. But what's wrong?
What do you
It's
think
not
is
the
wrong?
guns.
What do you
I'm
think it
asking
is?
you. What do you think is wrong?
Mental health.
Right.
Yeah.
So I say I agree with you, but I think it's the deterioration of culture altogether. Like
Yep.
they used to be taught the Bible in school. Like, you know, people make fun of that now. Like now we've got this culture where you're making fun of kids. Like religion is like, we're so far away from religion. Like that's like weird to us. Like, you know, like teaching religion is like, you've got like a scarlet letter if you come in as like a holy Christian kid in like a normal public education thing. You've got the family structure where it's like these kids are running the houses these days. Like I look on like Facebook and it's like supposed to be funny when like a 4-year-old is acting like Cardi B. I'm like, okay, yes, it's funny because she's 4, but it's also like not funny because she's 4, right? Like,
How do you feel about Lil Tay?
who's Lil Tay?
You don't know who Lil Tay is?
I love Cardi B. I know who Lil Tay is. Who's Lil Tay?
Lil Tay is kind of out of the news now because they found out it's a hustle. She's a 9-year-old Asian girl from Vancouver? Is that where it's from? And she talks mad shit, throws money around, calls everybody bitches and haters.
That's my point.
Bitches.
Like this is considered like funny. It's like entertaining.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, and we're okay with that. And so parents are pushing their kids to be more outrageous because there's a way that they can make it.
Right.
So to
Here it
me,
is.
it's like
Lil Tay spotted hanging out with Rick Rubin.
it's like
It's not over.
It's
Not over yet.
It's not over.
Rick
Wow.
Rubin. Oh, she looks. Look, she's
She like how old is she?
she's
She
got
looks like
double
she's.
fingers. Oh, those are hooks. She's got the horns up, and she's got a G-Wagon in front of her.
It's just like the Cash Me Outside girl.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't talk about any of that. We don't talk about the fact that we no longer focus on family. We no longer focus on religion. Doesn't mean to be that everyone needs to be religious, but there's structure in religion, right? There's structure in me when I grew up, and my grandpa used to make us read the Bible around the table. There was some structure to that, and lessons and prayers that, and then there's this mass, the Facebook, the snapping, the Instagram, the Twitter. It's like we've changed the world and expected children to stay the same of it, and nobody talks about it. So instead, they say it's the gun's fault. We need stricter gun legislation, but the entire world has shifted. We're not talking about those changes, the dynamic of the world that has shifted. So I just hold a different position. I think it starts with family. It starts with structure. I think we need religion back. I think that needs to stop being such a dirty word. It needs to stop being mocked roundly by the media. Like it shouldn't be funny, when Joy Behar, says something about Jesus and the whole audience giggles. That's weird.
Well, she says something about Mike Pence being mentally ill.
Yeah, because he talks to Jesus.
Right.
Think about how weird that is, right? Like how weird that the stuff that we would be normal, like, praying, talking to Jesus. Like when I grew up, that was like my grandparents' generation. Everyone was religious. And now we're so far away from that, right? That seems like it's okay to mock, and we roundly mock it all the time. So the structure in the home is, in my opinion, the most important thing that needs to change. The fact that so many people are growing up without fathers in the home is something that needs to change. Letting your kid have a Facebook account when they're 7, right? Like, there's just too much. It's the information age, but what information are they downloading?
Well, I definitely think that people need structure. I definitely think that people need family and community and all those good things. But when it comes to religion, it's like, which one is right?
That's not about being
you think
right.
all of them?
It's not about being
anyone?
right. It's not about being
What
right.
about-
yeah, it
what
doesn't.
about Scientology?
No, like there's not. I
Is that
know.
okay?
I'm going to be honest. I know nothing about Scientology, so I'm not. I know that people hate Scientology. That's all.
Well,
all
it
I
was
know about it.
Created by a science fiction writer.
Okay.
And it's all nonsense.
Right.
That's all you need to know.
Okay. Yeah. So
It's one of the dumbest religions of all time. If you
Okay.
read like what they
Or
stand
what they're
for,
advocating
what they're all about. Leah Remini, who was in it for years.
Yeah, I didn't watch her series.
She'd been on my podcast and she explained her journey into it and what happened with it and
Yeah.
when she started to question it. And there's a whole thing. There's a what is the fucking HBO documentary? It's also the book, the HBO on Scientology, the Lawrence Wright. Going Clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the book and I watched the documentary.
It's like so crazy.
Well,
I know nothing about it besides like Tom Cruise. I'm gonna be honest. I'm totally ignorant.
Yeah. It's for some people. Here's the thing. For some people, it's structure and it's helpful.
Right.
Ideologies are helpful sometimes because they give you like a format to live your life by, or scaffolding to keep your moral beliefs inside of these boundaries, and it helps you get ahead and you have purpose and decision making. But at the end of the day, it's a cult. You know,
Right,
and there's a lot of them.
Right.
There's a lot of different ones. So like, how do you decide?
It's not about deciding. It's just that there's something that comes from, I think, just learning certain lessons. It doesn't need to be. I'm not saying like we all need to like
from structure.
Like the Bible used to be taught in school objectively. It would be taught by people that were not practicing Christians, right? Used to be taught in school objectively because there's still lessons that are timeless in these Bible stories. It's nothing to do with whether or not you don't need to then say, oh, and then we go to church and then we pray in school and all that stuff. You can almost extract that and try to teach these lessons objectively. But what kids are learning now is like how to be an anarchist, like feminism 101, and you're like actually fostering an angry culture by telling them at every turn if they should be outraged. We are in outrage culture, and then you're surprised when somebody does something outrageous.
Right.
It's a little bizarre to me. It's like everything should piss you off. Everything should make you angry. Everything should make you upset. Everything is unjust. Everything is oppressed. And I don't know why this kid just shut up at school. Why was he so angry? It's like we're weird. It's like we're weirdly fake. And no one wants to have the conversation. The shooting happens and everyone wants to talk about the NRA. And then David Hogg is back on the news.
Jordan Peterson has some interesting ideas about religion and the fundamental beliefs and the lessons that are learned from things like the Bible and how they apply to human life and that our own belief systems. Without them, without these sort of structures and belief systems, is one of the things that leads civilization astray, and that it's done that before and things go awry.
Well, I actually had this debate with Charlie, and I did a panel down in D.C., and we were talking about whether, like, the reintroduction of God and teaching him to school. And I said, like, at some point there seems to be the struggle. I have this idea that, like, human beings in a certain way, we're doomed to just keep repeating history. I'm obsessed with Greek mythology. I'm obsessed with like Egyptian history, hieroglyphics, like anything that like where they tell stories, especially Greek mythology, because the lessons are there and we just keep doing it, right? Greed, lust, like the things that human beings fall for, right? So I had this idea when we were talking, because Charlie is an evangelical Christian. I'm not, right? I believe in,
This super smart guy is an evangelical Christian?
Yes.
So does he believe like Jesus came back to life?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, he's an evangelical Christian.
So he believes that someone died,
and
then 3 days later, they came back to life, and that they walked on water and
I mean, you have to. I haven't really gotten into it with him because I'm not the person that should ever be like debating or talking about religion. It's not my like shtick, I guess. But so what I said to him, because me and him both believe that in many ways the reason that the government has the media has started roundly dissing God, right, like and dissing Jesus Christ, is because the government wants to be God. Right. So if people
Wait a minute. Do you think the media is responding to the government's suggestion? Is that what you think? The reason why people are going after religion is because the media is responding to some sort of orders from the government?
Not orders. That's wrong. So it's
directive?
No. But Andrew Breitbart said that politics is downstream from culture, right? So, and you can argue that they feed into each other, whatever it is. But there's definitely something between culture and politics that is linked, inextricably linked. So when when everyone's on the same page, like, so if the government wants to get bigger, which it has been doing, right, and wants people to look to them for answers, which it has been doing, you have to understand they have to sort of destroy everything else that they would potentially be looking to for answers, right? So instead of when you're down and out people would just go to church and pray, right, or believing in your family or the family structure, they need to know that no matter what, you think the government is the answer. And that is what a leftist, at the end of the day, the left believes that the government can fix all of their problems. And I find, especially when I speak to all these leftists, they do not believe in religion. Like, there's just a thing. It's a trend. I've noticed that, I'm not religious. I'm not saying that, there's something wrong with it, but leftists tend to be, really apart from religion. So the argument could definitely be made that the destruction of believing in the Bible, of stop teaching the Bible, is because you want to make it so that every time you have a problem, because you're still our soul, we still need to believe in something. We're naturally beings that we need to believe that something can fix something. I really believe that it's the reason why we go get our palms read, right? Like, we just like, there's something else. Somebody has the answer. And people are starting to believe it's government in America.
Well,
and it freaks me out.
I agree with you that people like structure, and I agree with you that people without religion try to find that structure and those rules and other things.
Correct.
But I don't believe that this is like some calculated move by the government.
Not calculated.
I think it's human nature. I think it's human nature.
But it could shift.